So yeah, I would try to demonstrate a brute force attack into my VM. And this is the VM, the Azure Virtual Machine. As I mentioned earlier, this is hosted, Windows Server 2019 is installed on this, and it's my domain controller. And so I'll just start the virtual machine, and while I wait for that to run, I'll just show you through some of the things I have here. So this is my Microsoft Sentinel environment that I have configured, and in the Microsoft Sentinel, I have several features just at the left bar here, and this is where if I need to generate logs to look at what's going, to look at if there is to just see activities going on. Earlier I spoke about data connectors. I installed 3 data connectors, and I can just filter them out here, just the installed ones. So you will see I have Microsoft for Defender, Microsoft Defender for Cloud, Microsoft Entra ID, and the Windows Security Event log. So I'll go back here and just try to see. There are 2 modes. I would use the KQL mode, and briefly I would just try to run to hit. This is the public IP for the virtual machine, and I have Microsoft Remote Desktop, which I can use to log on to the virtual machine. I'll try to connect. So this is me trying to connect. So I would just try to use a random ID. Just trying to simulate me trying to attacker say 2, and then I'm just going to type in list of incorrect password multiple times. So this is me signing into the server itself right now, and these are the list of I used to synchronize on-premises users to Microsoft Entra ID. So I just opened the event viewer, and in the event viewer you will see the list of unsuccessful event attempts. All of these failures would also be recorded in our Microsoft Sentinel logs generated. These are the attempts generated on the server in the last 10 minutes that were unsuccessful. You can see that this is from attacker 2, the user I was trying to use earlier on. I was able to note that, okay, this guy is trying to sign in. This implies is that event ID data of 4625 in the last, I think I did in the last 30 minutes, most of the IPs came from there are 6 of them, and it came from Endon. That's the IP where actually I am from, but it does look like it sees it as it's from United States of America. So right now, this is another query I have that I've run, and right now it's still the only attempt to the server. It's just the one I initiated myself. There are 6 attempts, and the attacker IP is let me maximize my screen. So the attacker IP is 70.29.49.245. If I do IP location lookup, right, and I type this IP there, you'll notice it's exactly my IP, and I just had this here, IP lookup. It's my IP in Canada, Ontario, Toronto. So what I'm just going to do now is I'm going to leave the server open for a bit more time, and then I'm going to run this query again, and let's see if actually there are some folks who want to be able to see if there is an attacker trying to access our enterprise application. Are we going to see the logs as well in Microsoft Sentinel? And if we see the log in Microsoft Sentinel, what kind of information, or what kind of information can we get from that to help us ensure that we keep and I'm just going to run this here and then copy this to the browser. I'm going to use an incognito browser, neo incognito. So this is the application. Then I try to sign in. Then he asks me for the username and the password. So let me use this. So this is me logged in into the application. So right now I'm going to log out and then just try to use wrong. Okay, so let me use Samuel at Microsoft.com. So I'm just going to start typing in like wrong passwords multiple times. Multiple times. Remember that Samuel was created on premises and then it synchronized to Azure AD. Typically you would expect that these accounts should be locked out by now because we've done multiple password attempt types. So these are ways where we need to also increase the security of the system itself, because when attacker tries to log in, let's see if there's someone trying to hack our system. So I'm just going to run this again. Oh, so still no one, we still have nobody trying to access. So I will check if our virtual machine is still up. Yeah, it's still up and running. So here are some of the recommendations that we have from Microsoft Defender, and the one I would like to show us is this. Actually, Microsoft Defender actually points us to the fact that we should restrict certain ports from our NSG, the NSG that we created. So and I'm just going to show you that I deliberately left those ports open and it looks like that. So I just came back right now because I left it open for a while, and then you could see this user Ichibiacho from, let's look at more details. It's from Japan. He has been trying to attempt to log it into my system, and you can see Japan. He tried multiple attempts, and if I change this right now to 4, it looks like one of those attempts was successful. You can see so it looks like one of the attempts was successful. So what I'm just going to do right away is I'm going to pause this and turn off my VM. So what I just did was just to stop my VM. I'm going to configure those things I need to configure, right, to make my VM very secured. And so things like the NSG that I mentioned earlier. But before that, let's go to our Sentinel logs to see what the graphs looks like this time. Intelligent things that it's going to recommend, and then you're going to implement them. So what are the things I can do here? I'm going to mention that. So one of the things I just did right now is that I configured a new NSG inbound rule that only allows from my virtual private network, only allows connection only from my virtual private network. So I'm just going to also try to sign in again into the server. And when I go into the server as well, I deliberately open the turn off the on apply and okay. So yeah, in Ichibiacho from Japan. Last 4 hours. I ran the query for the last 4 hours. So I modified the query here just to isolate the case for this particular IP that the attacker has been using. If you look at the account name, they were switching between account names. Initially they were using /admin, /administrator now, and I can do for the last 30 minutes and see if there's any activity. Last 30 minutes they are still very aggressive. Let me do this, and so this from the 0605. Yeah, so they've also been trying to get access to the system, and the activity is an account failed to log in. They're trying to NTLM the same IP address. They are switching ports. I mean, that's crazy. Yeah, and yeah, I think that's it for my hand. So I mean, I just thought to use the local time this last 30 minutes, and this 3:36 p.m. and yeah, this 3:06. That's, I think, about the last time they tried. So yeah, they are very persistent. I give it to them. Some selected users or users in a particular group to be able to do self-service particular user. I can decide to say all users in my organization should be able to do self-service password resets. I mean, these are the things I can choose to have in my organization, and I just want to share that. And the other thing again that we can do to protect is, I mean, there's administrator policy. So I mean, yeah, we can configure things like multi-factor authentication. We can choose to say, okay, require multi-factor authentication for admin or for all users. I mean, it's always makes sense to require multi-factor authentication for all users. I mean, with this help increase the security posture of the organization.